Greetings. My name is Corey Blankenship, and I am a member of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. I've served my tribe and community for over 12 years in various positions within the Office of Budget and Finance and operate an independent tribal consulting practice, Raven Rock Strategy Group. Grants management is a critical element of my work, and for many tribes, grants management is essential in daily operations. Whether you're a department of one or have a team of grants professionals, there are some fundamentals of grants management that are universal. This video is the first in a series of educational videos around grants management for tribal nations and tribal organizations. In this video, we will share practical tips and resources for managing grant awards, including creating a grants management framework for your organization, assigning tasks, creating a grants compliance calendar, and understanding reporting requirements. Grants compliance begins before you even apply for a grant award. It is important that you have a process for thoroughly reviewing funding announcements, notices of funding opportunity or NOFOs, or other ways that agencies and grant makers announce their funding opportunities. A grant award is a contract, an offer from the funder to provide resources for important work, and the organization accepting that responsibility and agreeing to abide by the terms set out by the grant maker. It is important that you thoroughly understand these terms. You can start by asking some basic questions. Who at the tribe or tribal organization will be responsible for completing the work? What is the work you're committing your tribe or tribal organization to do? When does the work need to be completed, and when are the important deadlines? Where must the work be performed? And things like, how does the funder measure success? How much must the tribe or tribal organization commit by way of its own resources? And how does this work align with the organization's strategic priorities? Let's quickly check for understanding. The acronym NOFO stands for Notice of Funding blank. A. Obligations. B. Objectives. C. Opportunity. Or D. Origination. And the answer is C. Opportunity. It is important that your organization thoroughly understand the terms and conditions of each funding opportunity and that you have the resources necessary to complete the work that will be required by the funder. If the grant will require you to add capacity to your organization, you must also consider how that capacity is sustained once the grant award has ended. If the funder offers a perpetual or recurring funding opportunity, you must also consider what is required to keep that funding intact. If the process is competitive, consider the impact to your organization if the project or initiative is started and the grant funding is no longer available. Only after thoroughly reviewing the funding opportunity and answering some of those key questions should your organization embark on applying for the funds. In some instances, you must also be comfortable in saying no or not right now. It is okay to pass on pursuing a funding opportunity if you cannot say with confidence your organization has the resources to accomplish the work. You and your team did a phenomenal job with the grant application, and you just received your notice of award. Now the real work begins. The notice of award becomes your binding contract. Review and understand it thoroughly. We recommend that you use the Notice of Award to build a grants compliance checklist. You can do this in a grants management software, project management software, and if you don't have access to either of those platforms, don't worry. This is something that can be done in Word or Excel. In this video, we're going to walk you through a grants compliance checklist we created in Microsoft Word to demonstrate a basic compliance framework. This is a simple document that should be developed between the members of your team who will be responsible for the work funded by the grant. The design is meant to capture the most important elements of maintaining grants compliance, such as allowable expenses, reporting requirements, grant period, and payments. We recommend this document be completed in a team meeting so that everyone responsible understands their role in a kickoff or orientation fashion. There are some elements that can be pre-filled. However, it is important that each field be covered in your team meeting to check for clarity and understanding. Let's start by taking a look at our sample compliance checklist. To begin, we have some basic information about the grant award. Most awards from government agencies will have a pre-assigned grant number. This number allows the agency and your tribal organization to better track and manage the grant awards. It is possible that your tribal organization will have multiple grants from the same agency, so having a unique identifying number is important. We will also want to know the agency or funder who is providing this award. Did you know that CFDA stands for Catalog of Federal Domestic Assistance? The catalog is a listing of federal programs, projects, services, and activities that provide benefits or financial assistance to recipients. This catalog was intended to allow government agencies to better track progress and maintain its funding programs. If you've been doing this a while, you likely know that the CFDA number is an important way to identify your grants for reporting, accounting, and for auditing purposes. The CFDA number is now called the Assistance Listing Number, but the function remains the same. With our compliance checklist, we will want all parties to know the budget and performance period for the award. Essentially, this tells us how long we have to spend the funds and how long we will be required to report on our grant performance. Some accounting systems will allow you to identify and track your grant awards with an internal tracking or reference number. It is important that everyone know that number for reporting purposes. And we want to know the department who is going to be responsible for managing the grant and who our primary contacts are within that department. Let's quickly check for understanding. The CFDA or Assistance Listing Number is randomly assigned, true or false. And the answer is false. The CFDA or Assistance Listing Number is a catalog number, standard across agencies of the federal government for its assistance programs. Next, we are going to document the budget details. Mainly, we want to know what the grant will pay for or what are our allowable costs. Notably, we will also want to know if certain costs are prohibited or unallowable. This is also a good opportunity to identify the internal chart of accounts that will be used to manage financial reporting for the grant award. And we will want to document who is responsible for budget or financial reporting and their contact information. We will discuss budgeting and financial management in greater detail in another video. We will also want to document payment information, particularly if the grant requires the tribal organization to make a draw on the funds from an online payment management program. It is important to document the payment frequency and who will be responsible for processing the payment draws. This is also a good opportunity to document any other special terms of the grant award. Just like we did with payments, we want to clearly document the reporting frequency and requirements. We should record all of the reporting dates in this document and how the reports are to be delivered and to whom. Likewise, we will also want to document within our tribal organization who will be responsible for completing both narrative and financial reports and their contact information. Finally, we have listed the points of contact with our grant funder in the event there are questions or we need clarification about the grant award. Next, we will move into creating a grants management calendar. We want to document the start and end date for each grant award and especially make note of when there are reporting requirements for the grant. Take this opportunity to also set internal deadlines for grants compliance. For example, it is good practice to have at least 2 people review your grant reports prior to submission. We want our reporting to be both timely and accurate, so having a second review prior to submission is a good practice to follow. For example, we may want to have an internal deadline of 10 days prior to the grant submission deadline for a report to be completed and submitted for review. This will allow time for the report to be reviewed, edited, or corrected if needed, and submitted to the funding agency in a manner that is accurate and timely. We should document those dates clearly so that everyone involved knows the expectations. Let's do our last check for understanding question. A grants compliance calendar should include A. Internal deadlines, B. External deadlines, C. Start and end dates, or D. All of the above. And the answer is D. All of the above. It is important to maintain detailed records for all grant awards to your tribe or tribal organization. The compliance checklist, compliance calendar, and notice of award are a good start to your grants management record keeping. You will also want to keep copies of all of your narrative and financial reports, correspondence to and from the grantor, amendments or supplemental documentation related to your grant award in one place, whether that's a hard copy file, electronic file, or both. Thanks for listening in, and be sure to take a look at the other videos that are part of this series for additional information. And feel free to visit us at www.ravenrockstrategy.com for more resources.